Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I had just gotten started on making my list for the best of and the worst of the year 2024. But before I did my horror list, because I'd love to separate them, there was one movie that just kept getting recommended to me, that just kept being brought up to me, and a buddy of mine just the other day was like, dude, you gotta watch The Substance. So I finally watched The Substance.
Oh, look at his eyes. Oh, fuck. That's super cool. Does Batman's eyes do that?
The Substance is a 2024 film that was written, directed, co-edited, and co-produced by Coralie Fargeat, who is a French filmmaker. I have never heard of this woman before, but holy fuck. This movie is wild and crazy and so fucking mind-blowing to me, especially. I'm gonna just come right out and say that I love this movie. I did. I loved so much about it. This movie blew me away, even for all of the good that I heard. You know how sometimes you hear a movie get so many great reviews, or people say it's their favorite of the year, or it's at this level of the year, and it's this and it's that. And a lot of times I watch those movies and I go, it was fine. It was fine. A little overrated. Or maybe I don't see it at all and I don't like the movie. I don't see what they saw in it. This is a film, though, that I'm like, yes, I get it. And I am all about this shit. This wild and freaky and crazy shit that this was. First things first, let's talk about Demi fucking Moore. Demi Moore, let's put some respect on this woman's name. Somebody who, without a doubt, does not get enough credit, enough praise. Just we don't speak her name enough, right? She's been around for forever, since I was a kid. I just remember seeing Demi Moore and all of the movies that she was in. And now, even more so now, I sort of respect her that she did a role like this that is so vulnerable, that is so forthcoming on what it's like to be an aging actress in Hollywood, in fame, who is so used to being treated a certain way up until you reach a certain age. And when you reach that age, even though she still looks beautiful, even though she still looks gorgeous, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what those Hollywood producers and execs think, right? And so they feel like it's time to move on. It's time to push her out the door. And her dealing with that, and her just kind of mentally unraveling because of it, because of how different people treat her, and that just feeds onto her own insecurities. Like, that in and of itself was fascinating, especially pertaining to the Hollywood standards of things, because, of course, that's an easy interest for me to see kind of what it's like to be in that role, in that position. Her character's name is Elizabeth Sparkle. And one day she sort of finds out about this drug called The Substance. And this drug, like, I don't even know how you sell this without truly telling you how fucked up this drug is. I don't know how you advertise this or how you get it approved from the FDA. It's probably not approved. I think that's the point. But this drug, if you agree to it, if you take it, so I at first thought, oh, maybe it makes you younger. That's the whole point, is that it would de-age you. But then you kind of think about, well, wouldn't people recognize that that's a younger version of you, and it would raise too many questions? This is more of like you take the drug and it creates with your DNA a younger, sure, technically version of you, but it's not you younger. It's like a younger person in general that just comes out of you. And when you watch that scene, that's freaky as fuck. I mean, the special effects, the practical effects, my God, next level. And so the younger girl that gets produced here, she's named Sue. I guess she names herself Sue. She's played by Margaret Qualley, who she looked familiar, but when I looked her up, I think the only thing I would recognize her from is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Either way, beautiful girl. Obviously, that's kind of the point of all of this. And seeing this younger version of Elizabeth, seeing her sort of recapture young fame, recapture the hearts of the world because of how fast and quick people fall in love with her, how different people treat this version of her because she is younger and hot. And so that dynamic was enough to kind of get me through. Then you bring in the horror aspect of it. The reason why this is a horror movie. Sure, the drug itself, it's very sci-fi, it's very wacky and crazy, but I would argue that the drug and the what it produces, it's just borderline of being too unbelievable. I mean, maybe it's just me, but like, I would not be shocked if a few years some underground company made some shit like this, and I mean, maybe not the whole thing coming out of you and how that keeps you alive, but all of that was fascinating. Then you get into the horror aspects of like how these two selves need each other to survive now, and how they take turns one by one, how the younger girl Sue starts eating up extra time because she doesn't want to go back after 7 days. She's like, no, I can do a few more hours, or I can do a couple more days. And you see how much that takes out of Demi Moore, how much of like it forces her to like age up because of that. She's losing time now. I mean, it might be hard to explain. If you haven't seen this movie and you hear me regurgitating this, you're probably like, what the fuck are you on? If it sounds crazy, trust me, when you watch it, it's very well executed, it's very well delivered, so I don't think you'd be lost watching the film. But there was many sequences, many plot moments of when time was being eaten up by the younger girl, and it made me on edge. It made me freak out. It made me go, oh my god, what the fuck is going to happen? And I was definitely on the edge of my seat there. Also, really quick, I should shout out Dennis Quaid, because Dennis Quaid, he's been taking some very interesting roles lately of just being more over the top. And this is no different. He is so over the top. And when I say over the top, he definitely fits the criteria of a male chauvinist, kind of in that producer role of just being an asshole type dude. But the way his scenes are shot, a lot of the camera work and the way the cinematography and the shots, the camera angles, a lot of that in the movie is noticeable and great. But specifically on his scenes, to make him look even grosser than you probably would have thought, that was great. Also, I talked about how much this movie sort of kept me intrigued. It's over 2 hours long, like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and so I was not bored the entire time. That's great. The ending, I could understand if people get to the third act and go, what the fuck is this? It goes so far left field. It goes so far in a weird direction that you're just sort of like, wait, what? But it's so fucked up, and it's so sci-fi, and it's so horror, and it's so body horror, and it's like parts of it reminded me of The Thing, which I know sounds weird, but like I'm telling you, if you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's gross, and it's creepy, and it's disgusting, but I kind of loved it, and I was kind of here all over the place for it. The budget, shockingly, $17 million. I read that and thought, wait, what? 17 million? You're telling me with 17 million you can make a movie that looks this good, that's this pretty, that has this much going on for it? What does that tell you? Learn from this, Hollywood. You don't need $250 million and The Rock to put out some bullshit that's like gonna satisfy people. No, you need a smart film, an interesting film, a different film, a different type of film with a low budget that really sells it. It has a 90% Rotten Tomatoes. I don't always talk about Rotten Tomatoes because who gives a shit, but I think this is one of the few that deserves that high of a rating. I think it's great. It is. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I can't wait to figure out where I'm going to place it on my list. I'm going to give it a full price. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you two have seen The Substance. What do you think of it? Do you like it as well? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!